Okay, yeah, so if you weren't here at the very beginning, I would recommend that you guys have a terminal ready because we're going to have a challenge near the end. But basically, if you're on Mac, download iTerm 2. If you're on Windows, download Git Bash. If anybody has any suggestions that are better than those two, then feel free to put it in the chat. So, today, we are going to be talking about systems. So, essentially, our next unit is going to be systems, which is basically how computers work. So, let us get started. Basically, we're going to be talking about all the different aspects of how a computer works, right? Like how code is run, parts of a CPU, operating systems, the internet, all that good stuff. And basically, on the right hand side is how like your computer works at a very high level, right? So essentially, you're the user, you interact with applications, and then your applications are run on your operating system, right? You could have Windows, you could have Mac, you could have Android, you could have Linux. Does anybody know what Chrome OS actually is? Whether which which operating system it is? Does anybody know? Chrome. Anybody? Anybody know? Yes, it is Gen 2, which is a Linux. It is a Linux operating system, which is pretty cool. Okay, so basically the first thing we talk like the first um, level, right, is application, right? So everything you interact with on your computer is an application. So your Google Chrome, your Finder, your Explorer, your Microsoft Word, those are all applications. And the reason why we need applications is because directly interacting with the computer's hardware is really hard, right? Because you probably don't already understand how a CPU works. You can't like tell, oh, CPU, run this exact instruction, right? We need something to make it easier for us. We just click a button and then the computer does a bunch of computation. So that's what applications are for. Now the operating system basically links the applications to your hardware, right? Like your computer is made up of a bunch of hardware, but you can't use that hardware unless your application know how to communicate with it. So essentially, your operating system, there's a bunch of different types, right? There's Linux, there's Mac OS. Both of those are Unix operating systems, and then there's Windows, which is owned by Microsoft. And basically, it lets you run a bunch of applications simultaneously on a single CPU, which is really cool. And then at the same time, it tells like, oh, this application is using the CPU right now. Don't let anything else use the CPU, or that this app is interacting with the memory right now. So don't let other things like compete for the same memory spaces and stuff. And then finally, you have your hardware in your computer, right? You have your applications, and then the kernel, which is the operating system, basically directs the applications to these different hardware devices. So, does anybody know what this boy over here is? What component it is? Anybody of a computer? Anybody know? Come on, some guy got to know be building computers or something. No? Yeah, this one, could you guys not see my mouse? Okay, well, top left. Top left is a CPU. It's an Intel CPU. Anybody know what the top right one is? At the very top right? Yes, motherboard. Does anybody know what it's for? What the motherboard's purpose is? Well, basically the CPU's purpose, right, is to actually run the computations, right? Like, if you want to run a line of your code, your CPU does that for you. Your motherboard actually links everything together, right? You link in your CPU, you link in your RAM, you link in your hard drive, you link in everything into your motherboard, and it routes everything to like it's what lets all these parts communicate with each other. Anybody know what this guy is? It's kind of not a great picture. The guy in the middle, it's not a great picture, but anybody know what it is? Yes, it's a hard drive, and basically, hard drives use a magnetic disk that basically you have this head that changes the magnetic poles on the disk, and that basically stores a bunch of bytes on the disk. And it's kind of weird because the problem with hard drives is that they have moving parts, right? There's literally a spinning disk and an arm in it, so that's why they're kind of problematic. Does anybody know what the better, like not better, but what the other type of drive is called? Anybody? There's another very yes, SSD, which stands for solid state drive. Yes, and basically those are they don't actually use moving parts. I'm pretty sure there's like some chemicals, and they basically could read like yeah, I'm not exactly sure, but like they don't have any moving parts, which is really cool. Anybody know what the thing on the bottom is? Come on, you guys for sure. Okay, yes, this is the GPU. You guys are gamers. You guys know what this is. Yes, this is the GPU, and basically, does anybody know what the difference between a GPU and a CPU is? Like, what the big difference is? Why GPUs are so good for graphics? There's a very specific reason. Basically, like GPUs are really good at doing like parallel computations, which is also why they're really good for doing like machine learning and that kind of thing. Okay, so now the most important thing in order to interact with your computer at a really low level, right? Like we have all these applications, but you can't actually get all the way directly to your computer. So in order to directly interact with your computer, you need a terminal. So you like in the past, these terminals were literally just like keyboards that were directly connected to the computer, and it let the computer get output and give input to the computer directly. Now we have all these apps, but it's basically the terminal we have now is just like an emulator of the previous terminals, but it lets us directly interact with our computer. And the reason why you want to learn terminal, right? If you want to get into coding, ST, what's ST? I have not used ST in my life, but basically the reason why you want to learn this if you're getting good at coding is because basically all the stuff you're going to be doing is directly through the terminal. It makes it a lot faster. Like, wait, yeah, go ahead. Were you saying something? Okay. But yeah, basically the idea is like, if you know how to use terminal, you could get around your files a lot faster. You could run a lot more things. You need to know how to use terminal if you want to get any more into coding. Okay, so let us start talking about how to use terminal, and I'm going to be using iterm. So sorry, Albert. All right. So everybody could see my terminal, right? We good? Alacrity, what the heck? How do you guys know all these random terminals? Okay. But yeah, so this is iterm. Could you guys see it though? You can see the black screen, right? Yes? We good?
I do not see your terminal.
Okay.
I see your Chrome.
Then let me reshare.
Also MacPad.
Okay, so basically before we get into how terminal works, let's first talk about how like files in your computer work. Okay, I should probably just share my whole desktop so I can actually move between apps. Okay, so that's my whole desktop. All right, and now we go to Finder. All right, so basically you can see that like I have this is how Finder looks, right? You basically have your folders, right? You could click on them. There's some nested ones, right? You could have all these nested folders, right? And basically, if you wanted to change the name of something, you would have to right click, you had to do all this stuff, and to get to different things, you had to click, right? And the problem with clicking is that it's not efficient, right? I have to click all the way around here, but if you could type things, it's actually a lot faster. So essentially the way that these folders are represented in terminal is if we do pwd, which says present working directory, you can see, right? You have your folder, and then each nested folder is like a slash, right? So now, like, if now in Finder, right, I had to click a bunch of times. If I want to move to another directory in terminal, it's so easy. All I do is like cd, what do we want to do? Personal quick code demo. See, easy, right? We're already in a new directory, and then if we wanted to see what's in this directory, right, we could just say ls, and hooray, we're back in that same folder in like 2 seconds. Okay, so the two, yeah, go ahead.
WD command if our present working directory is already on the screen.
Wait, say what?
Like, oh. Okay, never mind.
Okay. Yeah, so basically pwd tells you where you are, and you can move around with cd, and ls tells you all the files, all the folders in your current directory. So these are the three like really important ones, right? And now we can actually get a little bit more fancy, right? So let us say that we wanted to look at me.txt because it kind of looks like it wants to be looked at, right? In Finder, you'd have to double click, you had to choose which program you want to open it. In terminal, you could directly just see it with cat lookatme.txt. And hooray, look at all this epic black space, very nice. Okay, now another thing you could do is you can also make hidden files in terminal, right? And you can also look at hidden files. So if you wanted to see hidden files, you do ls-la, and hooray, you got this hidden file right here. And in terminal, you can just cat hidden file.txt, and you get what's up. So basically,
ls-a as well.
Yeah, ls-a works too. ls-l basically adds all this other random stuff, which tells you like who owns the file, how big it is. It's unnecessary, but yeah.
Read the file.
Say what?
And whether or not you can read or write the file.
Yeah, basically all this nonsense tells you whether you can read or write the file. Okay, now another cool thing you could do with terminal is you could edit files directly in terminal, right? You don't have to open a completely new tab in order to edit things. So let's say I wanted to edit like lookatme.txt, right? I use Vim. So Vim is a editor you could use in terminal. I don't know what you guys prefer. Some people prefer, what's the other one called? I forgot what it was called. But there's a lot of in-terminal text editors. So if you do Vim, look at me.txt, I could edit this guy. Vim is kind of hard to use, so I wouldn't recommend using it for beginners, but basically that's a thing, right? Now, another thing you could do is you could actually open it into like text edit, right? So if I say open, look at me.txt, it opens it in text edit, and now you're probably familiar with this. So you could add like pi3, Command S, Command Q, if you cat look at me.txt, very cool. Now, another thing that a lot of people want to do is they want to go in and out of folders, right? So we know, okay, what was the command to get into a folder? Does anybody remember? Anybody? How do I get into a folder?
CD.
Yeah, CD stands for change directory, right? So if we do CD, and basically if I want to see what folders I have available, you just click tab, right? And now you can see all these options for the folders. And let's say I want to go into nested, right? So I would type nested, and it auto-completes if I click tab. So if I click tab, hooray, autocomplete, we're in nested. Okay, ls, what do we got? We got more nested, right? CD into nested. Now, does anybody know how we could get back out of this without having to like CD into a specific folder? Anybody know how to go backwards in terminal? So right here, we want to get to demo again, right? So does anybody know how we could get backwards? I don't want to type out this whole thing, right? So does anybody know how we could get back to demo? Come on, you gotta know, but fine. It is cd dot dot, right? So now if we cd dot dot and we do pwd, see we went back a folder, right? And if we cd dot dot, pwd, hooray, we got back into demo. We are in demo now. Alright, so that is one cool thing you could do with terminal. Now another cool thing you could do with terminal is move files around, right? So in Finder, to move files around, you had to select a bunch, you had to drag it into a folder, you have to like hover over it. Wait, let me just show you how annoying it is. Okay, so let's say I wanted to move, yeah, so you click here, you hover over that, you wait for it to open, then you have to like go hover over this until that opens, and I guess if you wanted to make a folder, you had to do that, but that is not very efficient. See, even if I wanted to go backwards, right, then it's really inefficient. So that's pretty inefficient, right? So how could we do this in terminal? So I'm gonna basically make a new folder, and I'm gonna put all the stuff in here into that folder, just with one command. So does anybody know what the command is for making a folder? Come on.
Directory mk.
Yeah, mkdir is the one that I use. Mkdir, I don't know if there's another way to do it, but I use mkdir. Mkdir test suite number 1. Let's do it. Okay. So now if we ls, you can see it created this folder right here, right? So now if we wanted to move everything in, we use something called the move command, right? And literally what's cool about it is all we do is move star, right? That selects everything in the directory, and we move it just into test suite number 1. Now, I don't think this will work because I need to do like a different thing, but I'll just show you what the error is. Actually, let's just move one thing at a time first. So let's move look at me txt. You take the thing that you want to move, and you put where you want to move it into. So test suite number 1. Okay. So now if we ls, we now ls test suite number 1. Hooray! Look at me txt is no longer in this folder. It is now in there. Let me clear. So now we want to move everything in the folder, everything else into test suite number 1. So essentially, I already told you guys this, but we do move star, which means everything, and then we put it in test suite number 1. Okay. Okay, well, I guess, let's see. Yeah, so it basically moved everything already, right? It was saying this because obviously you can't move something into itself, so that doesn't really make sense, but it basically moved everything else in. So very cool stuff. Now, does anybody know how we could copy an entire thing? Like in Finder, I don't think there's a way to do this, right? Like, if I do right click, what does it do? Oh, really? There is a way to do it. Wow, okay, I did not know that. But basically, there's a really easy way to do it in terminal. So if we do cp test suite number 1 into test suite number 2, right? Then we do that. It says it's a directory. So essentially, if it's a directory, you have to do -r. So test suite number 1, test suite number 2, and hooray! we already made it. We were able to name it. We don't have to like click duplicate and then right click and then rename in Finder. It's way faster. We get to just choose it immediately. So this is one example of where like this kind of thing is useful, right? And now let's cd into test suite number 1. Whoops. Okay, I do not know. Wait, epicness. What's in there? cd epicness. Nothing. Okay. So essentially, there's another thing we could do. There's also for loop. So basically, what I'm gonna do is I'm going to, okay. So cat epic.txt. Oh, yeah. Okay, this is a good example. So basically, this file has a bunch of fake flags, right? And we essentially want to find the real flag, right? Now the problem is there's so many things. If I scroll up, I'm never gonna find it. Okay, so I'm already at the top of the file, so I can't find it that way. So does anybody know how we could possibly find the flag in this really massive file using terminal? Anybody know? Come on, you gotta know. Someone. Anybody. Okay, well, there's something called grep, okay? And basically, grep is your go-to if you want to search in your files. Now, you gotta probably know that Max Finder is really, really bad at searching, so that's why I always use terminal, right? Because it's way easier to search, right? So essentially, we can just do grep for shscs, and then we put anything could be in between the two brackets, but we wanted to start and end with a bracket, and then we search in epic.txt. Oh, wait, hold up. Oh, I think I have to do dot star right there. Hey, there we go. Yeah. So basically, dot star is regex, so that basically means that any character could go in between. And hooray, we found it. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. Okay. So just a couple more commands, right? If you want to make a file and then open it, right, with your text editor, all you gotta do is you don't even need to like open text edit and then do new file, right? You could just do touch new file.txt. Then we could do open new file.txt. And hooray, we could make anything we want, right? Save it and close it, and we could cat new file.txt. Say it again?
You can also just do vim new file.txt.
Yeah, but Vim is really like if you don't know how to use Vim, it's kind of hard. But like obviously Vim like
file.txt
x.txt, right? We could just do I hello, okay, and then we'll blank. Okay, I mean yeah. So now if we cat x.txt, that's also a thing. So Vim also works, but you guys are probably not gonna get into Vim that easily. It's kind of hard to use. Do you guys know what the other text editor is called? I forgot what it was called. But anyways, there is a challenge on the CTF Club website, and basically it's a terminal challenge, and the first person to get the flag from that will get winner's flag. So try to go there right now and see if you could do it. I know that a lot of you guys are like Linux hardcore people who probably know how to do this, so let's see if you guys found it. Oh yeah, Nano or Emacs. Emacs is the one that I was thinking. Yeah, Nano is also a good one.
Emacs bad, Nano bad, Vim good.
Yeah, yeah, Emacs was the one I was looking for, but yeah, Vim is really good. And if you guys want to learn it and you have nothing better to do over the holidays, Vim Tutor. Okay, yeah, Vim Tutor is very fun. It basically teaches you how to use it, but yeah. Okay, so does anybody have any questions? Like, I'll show you guys a couple more things, but I want you guys to try the challenge because it's kind of cool. So another thing you could do in in terminal are for loops, right? So something that was kind of annoying to me like yesterday is for math club notes, basically we numbered them 1 through 9, right? And when we got to 10, it basically sorted 10 first, right? So essentially I needed to manually add zeros in front of like 0, 1, 0, 2, 0, 3, and so on, so that it would actually stay in order. But in terminal, you could do this really easily, right? So first off, we could easily make files with different names. So we could do for I in 1.5, and then we could do touch epic file $i.txt, and whoops, I forgot to do. God dang it. Do touch epic file $i.txt done. Okay, ls, and hooray, we already made all these epic files, right? Now essentially what we could do is I kind of trolled myself real quick. Hold up. No. Okay, so what you could do is, let me remove all those. So we could do remove epic file star, right? So that'll delete all those. Okay, and we could do it again, except let me put the number at the front so that it is easier. 0, 1. Or no, 1. Okay. So now if I wanted to add a 0 in front of all of them, it's actually super easy. All I do is mv epic file dot star or star epic file, and we do, and then we make it what do? We do 0. Wait, actually, hold up, I forgot how to do this. 0 epic file dot txt. Is that right? No, that's not how you do it. I forgot how to do that actually. But yeah, basically the cool thing is you could make files really quickly with this, and you could also do a lot of cool things, right? So yeah, very nice. Okay, so does anybody have any questions? That was basically all the stuff that I wanted to go through, but does anybody have any questions? Or are you guys trying the challenge? Albert and Brian, you guys even know what you're doing? Are you guys trying it? Fine, let me send it to the chat. And maybe... Oh, okay, let me link you. Does anybody have any things they want to know how to do in terminal? Anything? How to exit Vim.
Code forces problem.
Code forces problem in Bash? That would be epic, I'm not gonna lie. Oh yeah, that's another thing. Okay, so if you want to like make like, okay, let's think. What's a good example? Oh yeah, so you know how guess how I made this like epic.txt file? Hold up, cd test suite #1 cat epic.txt. Guess how I made this? I literally just used bash scripts, okay? So literally, if you could do something like file input and output with bash is super easy, okay? So let's say that I wanted to append to epic.txt, right? So all you had to do is you do echo hi, and we do double arrows, right? And now we put it into epic.txt. Now we cat epic.txt. And hooray, it appended it, right? Literally in one line, I was able to do that. In C++, you'd have to do like if streams, upstreams, all that nonsense, but in Bash, it's super easy, so it's kind of cool. Like you could do other stuff. You can make files just by doing echo hello into like new epic file.txt. And then if we go cat new epic file.txt, it's there. So file input and output in terminal sorry, Bash is super easy. Okay, so let us talk. Maybe we could just go into a little bit of Vim. What, Albert and Brian, you guys haven't found it yet? This is so sad. Okay, let's see. Vim epic.txt. Okay, so basically the way Vim works is that there's a typing mode and there's a movement mode. So the idea is that you should never have to take your fingers off the keyboard, which is really cool, right? So essentially to move up and down, you use H, J, K, and L, right? So you do this, and the idea is you never have to move your hands, which is really cool. If I wanted to go to the end of the line and add something, I do Shift A, easy. And it puts me in writing mode, and if I want to go back to movement mode, I basically click escape. Now, Mason, to answer your question, if you're outside of writing mode, right, then you could basically click colon, and then that lets you put in whatever command you want. Colon W saves it, right? And then colon Q will quit it, right? That makes sense. So if we do it again, then we could also, like, I don't know, if you're in non-writing mode and you want to enter writing mode, you click I, and then you can start typing. Very cool. If I want to select a bunch of stuff, you do Shift V, you click J, and then you could even go all the way down to the bottom of the file in like 1 second with Shift G and X, and easy peasy lemon squeezy. So that's what's really cool about Vim. Without even moving my hands off the keyboard, I could basically like do all this cool stuff. So any other questions about terminal whatsoever? Other than that, how to SS? What does SS mean? Oh, oh, not that one. Wait. Oh, you're doing the wrong challenge. It should be the grep one. Do the grep challenge. Sorry, did you actually do it that fast? Well, I mean, just screenshot it and send it to me, and then I will give you that flag too. But do the grep one too. Let me send you guys the meeting flag. Hold up. Oh, actually, okay, let me stop sharing screen. Yeah, give me a sec. I'll send the meeting flag and then we could be done for today. And whoever does the grep one, I will give them the winner flag. Sorry, my computer is being slow. Okay, there we go. I got it. Okay, here's the meeting flag. If you guys are... Oh, no, that's not it. What? Hold up. There you go. That's the meeting flag. There you go. So feel free to drop out if you're done. If you're doing the grep challenge, send me the flag when you guys get it. I'll give you a hint. Basically, you have to use the -R to find the flag instead of going through each folder individually. So, is anybody trying that still? Did Brian leave? Oh, Brian left. This is so sad. Oh, he's still here. Never mind. We're good. Albert, are you trying it?